Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good in our community. And we love talking about real estate and home buying and selling. We're here with our good friend, our City Current partner, Brian Cournoyer. He's the BC team and also to Compass Real Estate. And when you talk about the BC team and Compass Real Estate, we have a lot of good to talk about. But how are you doing, Brian?
Well, I hope we can bring some inspiring news about the real estate market for people here in the Nashville area. Sometimes it's it's a little more challenging, but I'm doing fantastic. It's always good to be here. Love talking with cityCURRENT. Just finished the big breakfast we had down here, which was great. Was able to invite a number of business folks in there and make some good connections for them, and just really plugging people in. So doing fantastic down here, Jeremy. Good to see you.
So let's start out. Give us a little context when you talk about the BC team and tied to Compass Real Estate. Give us a little perspective on your team, your specialization.
Sure. So BC team, it's actually the Brandenburg Cournoyer team. My business partner, Jamie Brandenburg, he runs the commercial division for us for Compass Real Estate here in Nashville. So our team handles kind of a little bit of everything. So he does all of the commercial, industrial development side of things. There's 5 of us that do the residential side. My focus is primarily on the south of Nashville, sort of the luxury higher end residential side. Forest Hills, Oak Hills, Brentwood, Franklin, College Grove is kind of my sphere. But we've got folks on our team that cover all the different sides of Nashville. Compass, as you know, it's one of the top real estate brokerages. We actually just had the #1 market share here in Nashville. So Compass did, which is great. And we're a very small brokerage compared to all the other ones. So anyone you find, if they've got the Compass name behind them, they only take from the top 1% of people. So you've got a good experienced person there if it's a Compass agent. So that's kind of us and what we do.
Means that you're in good hands for sure, and you've got an expert. And that's a big piece of this, is having a realtor who can guide you along in the process and help you make the best decision. Because when you look at a home, and especially now, this is a big investment. And so being good stewards of the opportunity is a big part of what you do. Give us some perspective on where we are with the Nashville market, because obviously it's still a hot market. So how do you describe the market right now?
Yes, so it is. It's still very hot. There's very limited inventory. It's a classic economics here. There's very limited inventory and there's excessive demand. And the big question I get from people is, especially the locals. So look, we've got all these people are coming here from around the country. So that demand is not going to diminish. So what do you do if you're a local? All these businesses are continuing to move here. And I tell people, they say, well, what do I do? Do I just sit tight? Surely we're in a bubble, it's all gone up so fast. And I just disagree with that. I think that Nashville, in a very general sense, was way behind some of our sister markets as far as price per square foot, et cetera. That has come up drastically, but I still think we've got room to grow. I think that we have come up and we're now on par with some of the other places in the country. But when you look at what's happening here in town, all the businesses that are continuing to move here, all the economic factors that are making this a great place to be, do we keep growing like this? No, I think we level off and have healthy growth, but I think we've got 7 to 10 years of that ahead of us. I don't think we're in a bad spot at all. So if you're a local, I still think it's a great time to maximize the value, the appreciation you've picked up in your current home, and look for the place that you really want to live. Don't just move to move right now, but if you've got someplace, school, work, your kids, something that's drawing you to a different area, now's the time. 3 years from now, you're going to call me and say, oh man, I wish I would have done that 3 years ago. So
yeah. And I love the fact that you can benchmark, because I follow you on social media and you're sharing homes in different markets like Colorado, New York, Los Angeles, and, tied to Compass Real Estate, you have the chance to benchmark. And so I think it's great perspective, like you mentioned, is that Nashville was behind in so many areas, but now when you look at sister cities, just now catching up, but yet still more room for growth. And so to your point, take advantage of the opportunity. How, when you look at selling and coming out obviously ahead with the appreciation, but then looking around at what inventory is available, what advice would you give to still find the right home in the right neighborhood taking advantage of the opportunity of selling, but now where do you go to find that right home?
Well, I think it's more incumbent upon the seller now to really understand why they're moving and where they want to be. It's not just well, let's look around and let's look at everything that's on the market. Let's see what area we really like. I think we need to hone in a little bit specifically on where they want to be and why. Like I said, is it closer to your job? Is it closer to where your kids go to school? You know, is there something about your lifestyle that fits in this area more? And this is where I think so realtors is an interesting thing to talk about, because people tell me all the time, well, I find the home, I find it online just as fast as my realtor does. Like, what's the point? And I get it. The realtor is not there to necessarily find the homes, because that information's out there on the MLS right now. They've got every bit of information that I've got as far as what's on the market. What they don't have are the ties to the other realtors in town, the builders, the developers, to know what's coming. And then you need a realtor to guide you through the pricing, the negotiation, because, man, right now there's just big money to be won and lost on these deals. You know, people are just saying, well, I'm going to list my house for this crazy number. Well, if you just go out there and say, oh my gosh, well, the market's hot, I have to do it, you can get yourself in trouble really fast that way. So you need someone that knows, but also that's why I say you've got to hone in on these areas. Because if you can say, look, Brian, I'm dying to live in 12 South, or I'm dying to live in the Grove, or I'm dying to live in Troubadour. I just came from out in College Grove out there today. I'm going up to Brentwood here in a couple minutes to go to Meadow Lake, and then I'll be out at Avery. Like, if you know these neighborhoods and these areas, I know a lot of people that have built in there, that live in there, that are thinking about moving in there, other realtors that sold that house that know that it's going to be coming soon. Like, I've got that network, and if I can go find it and say, hey, I've got 3 options for you in that neighborhood that aren't on the market, now we get a deal done, and everybody's happy.
Yeah. And you've mentioned this before, but I want you to recap, because I think it's really innovative, and it's awesome in the sense that you can sell your house and then basically lease it back to give you the cash in hand to go make a better offer on a home. So talk about that.
Yeah. So it's very common right now that, if Jeremy Park wants to sell his house and he knows he wants to go live in the Grove, but it's hard to buy a house in the Grove without selling your house, and they're not going to accept a contingent offer. Put your house on the market right now, and we'll just tell the buyers, hey, we'll sell it to you right now, but we need a 45-day, a 60-day, a 90-day lease back. And because there's no inventory, they're just happy to have a house, especially coming into the early part of the year here. Let's start looking ahead to when school is going to end. April's the busiest listing month of the year. May, June, a lot of people are moving. If they could lock your house down right now and then just lease it back to you for a couple months, but they know I have a house starting May 1st, they'll do that all day long. So that gives you the flexibility to be cash, have all your money, and to go out and shop and be in a much more powerful position to compete. That really comes into play on maybe the lower end of homes. That's a whole other story. But yes, good option.
When you talk about going and selling your house and then moving up into like a $4 million house, which are becoming commonplace now, so you're looking at $1 million homes.
Yes.
What are some of the things that people need to be cognizant of? And I'm thinking, what are the differences in quality? And obviously the neighborhood plays a factor, but what are the things that make a $4 million home that if I'm not familiar with a $4 million home, that I need to be looking for to know that that's a great investment?
So good question. And because there are some really big differences. And obviously there's the quintessential, right? Location. Like, okay, so we got to look into all that. That's the first and foremost in real estate, but set that aside. So we find a good location. We love the house. In this market, there really are 2 different kinds of product that we're seeing in the higher range. One is a spec that we're just going to throw up because we know we can put a big number on it. We're not even going to put it on the market until it's almost done. And then 2 is a true custom that someone builds for you. But in that spec market, you just have to be careful, because there are builders that they're just trying to get it done as fast as they can because there's no inventory out there, and they know they can put a silly number on it and somebody's going to pay it. And if you end up in one of those homes, the cost that you're going to incur over time when you have some structural issues or there's just maintenance issues, that the only way to know that is to either jump in and start studying all the builders or going and looking at all the homes. But that's what I do every day. You know, I know who all the builders are. I know who these people are. I know which ones to be careful of. I know I can call another builder and say, hey, what do you think of this house? And he'll tell me, be careful for this, or that guy's great. It just comes from the experience of walking through them. And I was telling you before we started, 3, 4, 5 years ago, we didn't even talk about $4 million homes in Brentwood. I mean, there were a few, but that's become commonplace now. And it's crazy to even say that, but that's just what the market is doing on this side of town. And there's some really cool stuff being built, but you got to be careful. You got to have somebody that does it every day. I've said this on the show before. I could start and finish with this. I don't care what realtor you use. I'm here to educate people. I want to help them I believe you should love where you live. I want you to be super happy where you're at. All I care about is that whatever realtor you use, just make sure they are just bad to the bone. They're super experienced. They're good at what they do, because there's too much on the line. So I was in a meeting yesterday with someone, and they said, well, here's the other person I'm thinking of. And I looked him up, and in the last 24 months, they'd done 7 deals. And I said, hey, I'm sure they're a very nice person, but I was able to pull up my production in the last 24 months. There was like 90 some deals with an average price of $1.1 million. And it's like, that's what you want. I'm not even so worried about the dollar figure. I just want someone that's doing deals all the time, that's not going to lose you money. So, yeah.
And, it's a big investment. You're talking about a $4 million house. Like, that's a big investment. So to your point, you want someone who's going to help you make the best decision. For you walking in and seeing these every day now, what gets your attention when you walk into a $4 million house? What are the things that you're looking at that justify, okay, this is a $4 million house? Is it the fixtures, the furnishings, what are the things that you're looking at that capture your attention?
Yeah, it's all of that. It's the finishes. It's the little things in the finishes. Obviously the location, you can have the exact same house in, Nolensville compared to in downtown Brentwood compared to College Grove, and it's just going to be radically different prices. But it's the, fit and finish, as they say. The subs are hard to come by these days. The quality of the finishes that get put into the home, it just makes a really big difference. And people are looking for a home that's done, that they can walk into right now. They're not looking for a project. There'll be a major difference in your resale price if your kitchen's a little bit older, or if your kitchen has been updated. When people walk in, they want kitchens and master baths. Like those are the 2 main areas. If you do nothing else in your home, update your kitchen and update your master bath. And it goes a long, long ways towards that, and make sure you do it right.
Well, and that leads me to, on your end, talk about Compass Concierge, because you have a really cool program on your end that you can maximize the value. So if I'm a home seller, you can partner with me in a creative way to make sure that I can get the most by doing those sort of needed renovations. Talk about the Concierge Program.
Yeah. So this is another thing, another Compass advantage, and advantage of having, again, whoever it is, just make sure it's a realtor that does this a lot. So Compass has something called concierge, where, again, I'm gonna pick on you again, Jeremy. So Jeremy Parker wants to sell his house, but the kitchen counters need to be redone, the cabinets need to be painted, and really you need some new flooring to that main level, and it's going to make all the difference in the world. But you don't, number one, know who to call, because all the subs and contractors are super busy right now. I do. We've got those people. We have those relationships. 2, you're like, I don't really want to drop 80 grand doing my kitchen and my flooring right now, Brian. Well, how about this, Jeremy? Compass Concierge, we will pay for it. Compass will pay for that renovation in your home, and then you pay us back when we sell it out of the proceeds of closing. Now, you got to be careful with that. It doesn't mean, hey, use our money and go do whatever you want. It means use our money with my guidance and do the things that if you spend $1 will return 2, so that when we sell the house, you can pay me back the $1 and you have $1 extra. So if we can do the things that make your home sell faster and for more money, and we can pay for them, it's 0 fees, 0 interest. It's just something we do for clients. It's a really cool program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the partnership on that, the innovation, and it's all those little things that add up to, in the end, everybody wins and you come out ahead, especially as the home seller. So talk about on your end, how can we learn more about the BC team, Compass Real Estate? How can we get in contact with you? Where do we go?
Sure. I love it. check out our website, thebc.team. And anybody that you know that is thinking about moving around here in Nashville, or if you've got folks coming from out of town, if you've got, commercial, residential, whatever it is, we've got the right people, or we can connect you with the right people. And yeah, we'd love to help. Love being a part of cityCURRENT. Love this crew. Love Nashville. I'm going to say one more thing here before we wrap up on this cityCURRENT and Nashville thing. One of our big focuses right now is keeping the culture of Nashville, because everybody's moving here, right? They all are coming here for what we have. And I've been telling people, I say, remember, you're not coming here as missionaries. You're coming here as refugees. So embrace the culture, but we can't just tell them that. We have to pull them in. And that's why I like being a part of cityCURRENT. So when you work with our team, we pull you into the partners at cityCURRENT. We introduce you to people. It's not just about selling you a house. I believe we've got to bring these people into the culture we have, or they'll just come here and create their own. And that might not be what we're after. So
hey, very well said.
cityCURRENT for giving us that opportunity.
No, and I love where your heart is. I love having you as a partner in cityCURRENT and everything that you're doing. So definitely appreciate it. Brian, you and your amazing team. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, you betcha.